what does cool look like? Cool looks like the sharing economy. So when you see these Google campuses that are built and LinkedIn and all these huge campuses, and all started by Steve Jobs when he built the Pixar campus in Emeryville, it's really about those employers trying to build a community where their employees never leave. They live there practically. They work there, they have gyms, they have dormitories where they can sleep overnight. Their poor families never see them. That's not going to happen in a city, and so that's what they're trying to do, and it's worked very well for them. If you get to a city like San Francisco, it's not a campus. What they've done is they've turned the entire downtown in Soma into a campus, right? So you've got the coffee shop right there, you've got the gym, you're working out in the middle of the day, you've got a rock climbing wall in the middle of your office, you're doing different things that look really different for those of us who grew up in an era of Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. San Leandro is on the verge of looking at that different kind of community. And so co-working spaces, which we're going to introduce you to today, hacker spaces where people, creative spaces, come together to find like-minded people to do projects, really cool projects together. Those are the ways that we're going to bring together the creative people in this community. And y'all exist because you're all here today. But we haven't found a way to connect all of you. And this is about connecting all of you so that we can come and do really cool things in San Leandro as well. And out of that will come business. Out of that will come jobs. Out of that will come a new way of doing business in San Leandro, which really turns around our industrial area, which, thank God, San Leandro was present enough to preserve it. Now we have to figure out what to do with it and how Lit San Leandro and that big pipe is really going to make a difference there. So without further ado, I know we will have plenty of time. I will stick around afterwards. Come talk to me. There'll be more events like this. We're planning to roll out lots of different things, salons, community events in the weeks and months to come. So everybody stay tuned. SanLeandroNext.com, if those of you are not aware of it, is how the economic development staff and myself communicate all these cool things that are happening in the community. So please, if you're not aware of that, stay tuned. You can do an RSS feed, you can do LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and stay on top of what we're doing. So, thank you all again for coming today. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panelists. We are so fortunate here today. We have representatives ranging from Sacramento, Oakland, and Berkeley, and we're connected with them in a number of very interesting ways. It's not an accident that these are the folks that are here on the panel today. So Ullrich, Hacker Lab, was actually introduced to me by Derek Lee. Where's Derek? Oh, running our projector, of course. San Leandro. Because Derek just gets around. So he found this great Hacker Lab place, Hacker's co-working space in Sacramento. And because of that, we're now connecting and working with the city of Sacramento itself, because it's all about, right, the sharing economy. So anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Eric Ullrich, Hacker Lab's co-founder and COO.
Thank you so much, Deborah, Derek, for introducing us. Today's been like a really kind of fun, exciting day, almost like a vacation, but we've been learning a lot, and you guys are really fortunate in a really interesting, great position. We met this morning with Patrick Kennedy, talking about the Lit San Leandro, and then Derek took us out to Tech Shop, and then we just got back from West Village, so we've kind of got a nice overview tour of what's going on here, and I'm really excited to learn more about what the other spaces in this area are doing. So Sacramento, what's going on in Sacramento? That place on the way to Tahoe. Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of really fun and exciting things happening in Sacramento. I'm going to talk about Hacker Lab, which I got involved with a little over a year ago. Kind of stumbled upon it when I was facing a problem trying to start up a company and look for partners. And when I was going about this, we were looking, going to meetup groups, tech meetup groups, and trying to find that tech community where I could find co-founders. And along that process, Sacramento is lacking the development of a tech community, especially a year and a half ago. And looking for programmers and other people to join your team was really hard to do. I met my co-founder, Gina Lujan of Hacker Lab, and we started a meetup group called Hacker Lab, and we started hosting demo days and just entrepreneurial meet and greets, and had an 800 square foot facility out in Sacramento. And these events started to really quickly just get packed. We filled up this 800 square foot place and really quickly, and we hosted the first hackathon in Sacramento. We called it Serial Hack. At the time, I was thinking, oh great, I'll throw a hackathon, find a bunch of programmers, and then I can start my company. And it turned out that the community development was so much more necessary and such a more important ingredient within the Sacramento ecosystem that I've kind of diverged from my other plan, really Hacker Lab and the idea of developing a tech community and a place for people to meet one another is really taking precedence. Next slide, Derek. This slide deck unfortunately does not have pictures of our space. I couldn't get that version, but I'll just paint the picture. Build, code, unite. That's our tagline. That's our motto. Derek, we have a next slide, Derek. We have a next slide. 10,000 square foot facility out in Sacramento. Next slide, Derek. Derek's seen the space in the front of our facility. We've got this little banner. It says "Build, Code, Unite." That's really what we're all about. We got the keys to this 10,000 square foot facility about a year ago, last August, and with no investors, no real corporate backing. It's been a homegrown, organic experience of partnering with other startups within the Sacramento region and coming together. So we signed this lease for a 10,000 square foot space, basically through partnering with other tech companies. What we do at Hacker Lab, sorry, I'm kind of low on sugar today.
They got plenty of it, right? Baklava. Baklava and coffee.
Right. I'll just talk about the facility, the community, and education, because those are really the keys of what we're doing here. The community first. We started out on meetup.com. We started out hosting hackathons. And from this community, we really saw the need for having a community space. And that's where our Hacker Lab facility was born. It's a 10,000 square foot space. We have 14 private offices. We've got a large co-working space, large event center, and a 5,000 square foot makerspace. We're building out our makerspace right now, and it's been progressing over the years. We've got a 3D printer lab, electronics lab, woodworking lab, metal shop, laser cutters, and soon to be machine shop. They're working in partnership to raise all this. We did all of this without any outside capital investments. Along the way, we have raised some corporate sponsorship, which has helped out greatly, but generally we're just straight bootstrapped through membership and office space sales. There's 14 office spaces in the space. We rent them for $500 a month. They go month to month. Low commitment. Internet's included. Electricity's included. And the community's included, which is really the important part. Next slide, Derek. So, along with the facility, education is really the key. Developing the skill set within our community. And so what we do is we partner with leaders within our community to create new classes and new educational experiences. all focused on technology, design, and entrepreneurship. So classes on CAD design, on laser cutting, 3D printing, electronics, Arduino, programming, design software, all the way to how to write a contract, how to negotiate deals, raising capital, structuring, finance, etc. Next slide, Derek. Next slide. So we host about 20 to 30 events a month, and it basically, all of the major tech meetup groups within the area have kind of come to this space. It's like a shared space. So we've got different programming languages that use the space, electronics groups that come and meet in the space, and then we also do about one major hackathon at least once a quarter. Some of our partners in these hackathons, Intel, we've done some startup weekends, and Serial Hack, which is our own brand. Next slide, Derek. So, over this last year, we've seen a lot of activity in building new companies and creating opportunities for companies to scale up is really what we do. So here's an example of some of the things that have happened. Of this list, one of the really interesting things that happened that kind of touches on some of the themes here is VSP, which is a large insurance provider, our insurance provider, ended up getting a space at our facility. And they opened up a little innovation lab within our space, and this is like a billion-dollar company. And what are they doing renting a 500 square foot space? They're getting away from their corporate culture and joining, the grassroots movement. And so from this 500 square foot space, which they moved into last December, they've now signed a lease to a building across the street for an 8,000 square foot innovation lab, which really is the start of the Sacramento's kind of tech grid, and really what some of our future development and future thinking of is within the community. Next slide, Derek. Next slide. There's not really much else. I just want to talk about some of the things that we're planning and thinking about in the future, is partnerships with the local government and with the local community. So having VSP across the street and then working with the other co-working places across the street, we're starting to band together to create a tech collaborative organization where we can, kind of like you're describing, creating a larger community where people can walk to the coffee shop and run into people from VSP and from some of the local tech companies. So that's it for me right now. Thank you very much.
Awesome.